It's my honor to welcome you to the 78th Annual Father of the Year Awards Luncheon. We are proud to be donating the proceeds of today's luncheon to Save the Children's U.S. programs and advocacy.
And I'm really proud that with the Council's help this year, we secured with partners over $236 million new dollars on early childhood education services. What you're supporting today makes a big difference not only in the lives of kids on a day in and day out basis, but it makes a big difference in advocating systemic change.
I've got to tell you, when they first called me, I thought I was being honored, but that didn't happen. Every child deserves to be treated and raised and developed as if their father was Father of the Year. And that's what we're trying to do today.
Thank you to the National Father's Day, Mother's Day Council. Ladies and gentlemen, this experience has been like something out of a fairy tale. And as the Johnson family heads back to Detroit, you can rest assured that we will be living gratefully ever after. Thank you so much.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the members of the Father of the Year Committee for this award. Through all the ups and downs, challenges and victories, fatherhood and grandfatherhood provides riches that, as any dad knows, are the most fulfilling aspects of life. But as I look back on the many jobs and responsibilities I've held during my lifetime, being a father is a role I have treasured most. Thank you.
First of all, let me say thank you. I'm so happy to be up here on the stage with such amazing fathers. Your children, to me, are our biggest teachers. And I always tell my kids, it's not my job to make you great. It's my job to teach you how to be great. Having said that, I want to say thank you again for this great honor. Appreciate it.
He paints for professional sports teams, Fortune 500 companies, and celebrities. Here to sing our national anthem while painting a live-action artwork, artist and vocalist, Joe Everson.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
A special thank you to performance artist and Renaissance man Joe Everson for bringing our anthem to life. Today, we gather to honor retail industry icon, Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of Burlington Stores, Tom Kingsbury. 14-time National Football League Pro Bowler and all-time reception leader by a tight end, class of 2019 NFL Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. Vietnam War veteran and 6-term senator from the state of Arizona, the 2008 Republican presidential nominee and true American hero, John McCain. The Ashok C. Sonny All-Star Dad, Brent Johnson. We'd like to thank our chairman sponsors for today's event: Burlington Stores, G3 Apparel Group, Peerless Clothing, and PVH Corporation. Please welcome to the podium President and CEO of the Father's Day Mother's Day Council, Dan Orwig.
Thank you. That was a heck of a way to start. Wow, that was pretty amazing. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Orwig, and as President and CEO of the Father's Day Mother's Day Council, it's my honor to welcome you to the 78th Annual Father of the Year Awards Luncheon. This is Joe Everson's first year at our event. We're thrilled to have him here. We will be auctioning off his incredible artwork later in our program. Joe, thanks for joining us here today. As we begin our program, please feel free to enjoy your lunch. I'd like to start by personally thanking everyone here today for their support. We're honored that you've all taken time from your busy schedules to celebrate our 2019 Father. Take blame. Did you do that? Okay. 2019 Father of the Year honorees. We have a very exciting event this year, and we're proud to recognize these truly inspirational men. Tom Kingsbury, Tony Gonzalez, Senator McCain, and Brent Johnson show incredible dedication to their families, passion for their careers, and leadership in public service, and are most certainly deserving of our recognition today. We will be live tweeting today's event, so if you'd like to join the conversation or give a special congratulatory message to our honorees, you can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at FOTY_awards and use the hashtag FOTY Awards 2019. So you know the drill. Take some pictures, send some messages, and be sure to tag us. Okay, we would like to recognize and thank our chairman sponsors for today's event. Burlington Stores for amazing support today from Burlington. They are also sponsoring our Text the Pledge campaign, an important fundraising initiative where funds go directly to Save the Children's U.S. programs. You're going to hear more about that in today's program. G3 Apparel for sponsoring a general reception where I hope you had a chance to select some items from our silent auction and take a photo on our red carpet. Peerless Clothing for the beautiful table arrangements and flowers throughout the venue. And PVH Corporation for sponsoring Joe Everson's singing of the national anthem and the auction of his fantastic painting. And our VIP reception was supported by all 4 of these companies, so thank you. We're truly thank you for all the support that they've given to make today's event so special. For our presidential sponsors, we'd like to thank Republic Clothing, Sonny Family Foundation, and Six Lincoln. Thank you for all that you do to make this event possible. We are proud to be donating the proceeds of today's luncheon to Save the Children's U.S. programs and advocacy. Through its commitment to breaking the cycle of poverty, Save the Children strives to ensure that the most underserved children in America are ready to learn by the time they begin school, that they thrive academically and developmentally, that they are healthy and active, and that they are safe and protected when disaster strikes. Myself and several of our committee members had the honor of experiencing firsthand how far Save the Children's programs go when we visited some terrific students and their families in South Carolina earlier this year. We saw these programs not only lift up the students, but also offer their families peace of mind in knowing their children are receiving the best opportunities to take advantage of their education safely and comfortably. So now, we're going to take a quick look back at the past 7 decades of our honorees. We've also included some very special footage from this year's site visit with Save the Children.
For me, Father's Day is about family and just bringing everybody together and keeping your family close.
Last winter I received quite a few awards and all of them were appreciated very much, but I think this is probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Thanks a lot.
My father had to come to school so many times because of me that they should have given him another diploma. And I feel very bad that my grandchildren never had the opportunity of knowing such a sweet, loving, unselfish man.
And I hasten to inform the men of the motion picture industry, or remind them that before I was a father, I was a son.
I also learned of unconditional love. It's one of the greatest gifts a dad can give a child.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Affection and love, one for another. I think it's something that exists in the heart of the fathers all over this country. And perhaps in the busy stress of our days, the problems, it's appropriate that we remember that feeling and give special honor to it.
And as we approach Father's Day this Sunday, I can't think of better charity to be on our minds and to benefit from today than Save the Children.
I think our greatest duty as human beings is to do the most we can to teach our children to take care of their children and to take care of this planet. I thank you for honoring me.
Happy Father's Day!
So everything I do is for my family. And I think that is the greatest gift of having kids of your own.
For me, receiving this honor today is really not about me. This award is a family affair.
Ward's, like millions of other immigrants, he lived a life of quiet heroism, content to see his children thrive, even perhaps someday to grow up to be recognized and applauded like today.
I love you, Daddy. I wish you a happy Father's Day.
It's the best job, as everyone who's ever been a dad has said, that we will ever have. It's not even close.
The home doesn't really count. It's not a house. A home is a mother and a father, parents that care and parents that love, parents that sacrifice.
You know your success as a father if you turn and look at your child and you realize they turned out better than you. My 3 children turned out better than me in every way. That's not hyperbole, that's a fact, in every way.
Family, that's what it's all about. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. As you saw, the Father's Day Council has a long and meaningful history. Since 1931, when the council was organized, we've recognized more than 500 outstanding dads. We're delighted to have some of our past honorees here with us today. If you could please rise when I call your name. Ronnie Wurzberger, Morris Goldfarb, Ken DeWayne, Joe Rivers, Mark Schreiber. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. Now I'd like to introduce Mark Schreiber, Senior Vice President of Save the Children's U.S. Programs and Advocacy, to speak more about how our donations today are helping put kids on the path to school success. Not only is Mark a good friend and a longtime supporter of the National Father's Day, Mother's Day Council, he is also recognized in 2008 as a Father of the Year honoree. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Schreiber.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. The lights are bright, so we can't see, but there are people out there, right? Yes, good afternoon. I'm really honored to be here once again. This is, other than the Mother of the Year event, I guess we're tied. This is my favorite two events of the year. And I just want to say thank you again to Dan and to the council. The support that you give our work here in the U.S. is truly critical to the work that we do, which Dan and the team saw in South Carolina, which we do all across the country. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I thought the video was great, Dan. How about Joe Namath's coat? Everybody see that thing? That was pretty sharp looking. And he was great when he came up and spoke. I think he was here the year that Vice President Biden. Yes. And Vice President Biden was late, and Joe Namath ad-libbed, and he was great. He didn't wear that coat, but he was really good. So I get to say a couple of words about what Save the Children does here in the U.S., and it's funded, as I said, in large part with a huge gift from the Father's Day, Mother's Day Council. We work, a friend of mine said to me the other day, you know, I support education organizations and you guys. And I said, that's what we do. Don't forget, what we really focus on are those first 8 years of life. And a lot of people don't think of education in 0 to 5 or 0 to 8. But those are the most important years in a child's development. It's not going to high school, it's not going to college, it's not getting a PhD or a master's. 90% of brain growth happens. 90% of brain growth happens in the first 5 years of life. Yet as a country, we invest almost no dollars in those first 5 years. We invest, but not as much as we should. So you have this huge chart of brain growth, and public investment is flat, brain growth is huge, and then it levels off at the age of 5. And it's a huge loss opportunity. So what Save the Children does is runs programs all across the country focused on home visiting, teaching kids and families the importance of reading, making sure that kids are entering kindergarten ready to learn, and that they're reading at grade level by the end of 3rd grade. So that heavy emphasis on education, on physical activity and nutrition is also a key part of what we do. But if somebody says, well, education in those first 5 to 8 years of life aren't important, don't forget that 90% of brain growth happens. And I'll give you one last statistic. If a kid is living in poverty in this country, by the age of 4, they're 18 months behind my kids or your kids, your nieces, nephews, your grandchildren, whatever. So as a country, we spend billions of dollars trying to remediate that, trying to get those kids that are living in poverty up to grade level, and in many, many cases, in too many cases, we fail. So what SAVE is doing is trying to fill that gap, trying to make profound changes in the lives of children all across the country. And we're trying to do it, Dan, you mentioned Save the Children's programs and our advocacy work. We do it through advocacy as well. So that means advocating on the federal level in Congress, and also means advocating on the state level. And I'm really proud that with the council's help this year, we secured with partners over $236 million new dollars on early childhood education services across the country. It's a huge number. And it's, Governor Raimondo came and spoke at a Mother of the Year event a couple of months ago. In Rhode Island, we increased, working with the governor, and increased so that all children will have access to pre-K services if they want to go. Wasn't offered in Rhode Island. It now will be because of the work that Save the Children and Save the Children Action Network did as a result of the support from the Father's Day, Mother's Day Council. So what you're supporting today makes a big difference not only in the lives of kids on a day in and day out basis, but it makes a big difference in advocating systemic change, which is really the only way that we're going to make large scale change in this country. So thank you again, Dan. Thank you to the committee. Congratulations to the fathers getting this award. It's, I got it a couple years ago, didn't deserve it, but it's a huge, huge honor. So now I have the dubious honor of introducing the text to pledge, right?
I think so.
So everybody knows what the text to pledge is? Don't sound so excited, people. I could drop a pin in here and here it hit. So the last year we raised, if you take your phone, I'm going to walk you through it. It's painful, but it's for a good cause, okay? Last year we raised $38,000 on this text to pledge. And I know some of you are here because your company bought it, so you got a free seat. So maybe you could pay for your lunch, maybe $5 or $10. If everybody contributed a little bit of money, it would make a big difference to us. So you go to your text screen. You can see the directions right up here. So you open up a text message, and then you type in the number on the screen, which isn't up there, is it? Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, at the top. Sorry, yeah. There are also instructions on the table, too. You can see I read my briefing notes. So go text the pledge to 203-309-0782. And you can type in your name, or company name, the amount of the pledge, any short message you want to share. Or you can go anonymous, and you can hit send. And last year I did this, and I forgot to send my money in. They'll send you a reminder constantly. It gets irritating, so I did it. But go in there, and you can do it. So you can look up there, and your names will be running here as we go along. And somebody can do it and start us up, and we can break the ice. Nobody's doing it. Who wants to be the first? How about you? I don't know. You did it? Okay, there you go. Okay, Paul Rosengard, $1,000. So I'm going to just tell you $1,000. Whoop, what happened? Oh, Dan's yelling at people. So $1,000 covers the cost of putting a kid, Paul, into our 2-week summer boost program, which gets kids ready to enter kindergarten, ready to learn. So that covers one kid in there. Okay, Mark Schneider, thank you. That also will cover sending a kid, because we run programs not only during the school year, but we run them in the summertime as well. And we have this $1,000 pledge will cover a kid that's transitioning into kindergarten. Mark Heller, $1,000. All right, well, we got 3 kids in our summer program, so that's a great start. If somebody wants to do 3,000, there's 2,000. That's not me, but that is in honor of Mom and Dad. So thank you to Mark. Really appreciate that. So a $3,000 pledge will allow us to buy the software packages that the kids read in school, after school, and in the summertime. So when we work with the kids in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, they read books, and then, whoa, doggy, there we go. Thank you, Pam, that's huge. The software program allows us to work with the kids in school, after school, and in the summertime as well, and that's a $3,000 pledge. If you send $100 in, it's a library that we can put in for our kids in their homes. Most of the kids that we work with don't have books in their homes. It's pretty amazing to believe it, but in almost every home I've been in over the last 15 years, there are no books. So it's unfortunately, families are really choosing between food and heat and electricity, so they don't have enough money for books. So we're going to $100 can provide a home library for kids growing up in rural poverty. So we're going to let this run on for a little bit. Thank you very much to Threadstone Advisors, to Elliot for $500, $1,000. I think if, again, if you don't want to do the $5,000 or the $3,000 or the $1,000, any amount makes a huge difference. You were a good football player, so thank you. Yes, you're welcome. So he was the man. You still are the man, and you're going to get an award. So you can see why I wasn't asked to be the MC this year. So David Price is going to come up, and I'm going to just thank you all again for any amount of money that you're giving here.
Getting texts.
Tell Mark to mention Kingsbury Kids. I was going to wait to the end. So what happens here now is the Kingsbury Kids, which is unbeknownst to Tom, is that they are matching up to $25,000. So if we hit 25 grand, it'll be $50,000. So thank you to your children, to all 4 of them. That is amazing. So I'm going to keep talking so we can hit $25,000. Stephen Shriver, he's not related to me. By the way, and then I'll sit down. My father got this award the year I was born, in 1964. And I'm going to ask you again, Dan, to stop putting my uncles up there, the Kennedys. We need some Shrivers up there, okay? All right, David Price is going to be your MC. Thank you very much for the support, and thank you again to the Kingsbury children for their amazing support. Thank you very much.
Introducing today's Master of Ceremonies, weather anchor for NBC4 New York, Dave Price.
Hey, everybody! That was completely anemic. Let's try it again. Hey, everybody! Oh, it is so good to be here. Everyone having a good time? Good, good. First of all, we begin by thanking everybody here at the Hilton for the great hospitality, for the fine service. So a big round of applause for the men and women who are taking care of us today. Secondly, before I begin, I want to thank Mark for all he does, and of course, Save the Children. This work is God's work. It sounds like a cliche, but there is no better way to describe what you are doing around the world and here in the United States particularly. It's incredible. I wish we all had the opportunity, because it would be infinitely more meaningful if we could take everybody here to the Carolinas, if we could bring you each to one of the programs that Save the Children operates, because we would go from beginning with $1,000 and $5,000 to seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars roll in here when you know the impact of each and every dollar. So Mark, to you, your organization, and your family as well for all the good works they've done. So good to see you here once again this year. I've got to tell you, when they first called me, I thought I was being honored. But that didn't happen. But they called about a year ago, and they said, you know, we want you to do this lunch again. I did it in 2005. And I'm like, whatever you do not have it. This is a year ago. I'm like, do not have it on June 13th between the hours of 7 and 2, because it's going to be raining. Because that's how accurate I am as a weatherman. And they got a good price here at the Hilton, and they insisted on it, so not my fault. And don't complain. If you want sunshine, pay Roker. That's all I have to say. Pay Roker, you get the sun. I didn't see any of the highlights from the year I hosted. I remember that was back in 2005. Anyone here then? It was 2005. We honored a young dad at the time named Larry King. Larry had a baby at home and a child. Yeah, I remember that. Those were the days, though. Larry had all that energy. I mean, he was a terrific parent. He was just 87 then. Great honoree. Good selection committee really hit a home run there. And then we honored, who was the other? Oh, we honored a guy named Donald Trump. Wow. Someone must have eaten one of those Papadoos. So yeah, we honored Donald Trump then. And we'll move on to the script. The issue at that point, they were still, you know, again, we were only like 60 years into this luncheon, so they're still trying to get their footing. And I remember we were in the nominations committee meeting, which I was involved in intricately, and they said, listen, Larry is a great grandfather. We need to honor him. And somehow it got lost in the transcript, and we wound up honoring a great-grandfather. Think about it. On your way home, that's going to be a very funny joke. You're going to realize it was a punctuation issue. The engraving was wrong. All right, you're a good audience. Thank you very much. Good night. But there have been so many incredible people that have been honored over the years. And I think back to 2005 when I did host the first time. And that was before I had 2 kids. It was before I had a wife. Those were the days. Those were the days. But I don't think the true power of this lunch and this mission and this day was as meaningful as it has become until I had children of my own. And I shouldn't joke about Larry King. I'm 108 myself and have a 5- and a 6-year-old, but being a good father or a good parent is, it's like an endless mission that is never truly accomplished, but a joyous, impossible journey. And every child deserves that. Every child deserves to be treated and raised and developed as if their father was Father of the Year. And that's what we're trying to do today. So I ask you, for the moment, and I'll remind you in a little while as the festivities continue to go on, go home with nothing. Tell your spouse you emptied the bank account because of a technical glitch. But whether it's $10 or $100 or $500 or $5,000, we can make a significant difference in a child's life while celebrating the great good fortune each of us have had in our own upbringing. And I ask you to do that today. And if we can raise enough money in the first 25 minutes of today's program, I swear to you, I'll do you the favor, I'll just hand these awards out right up here and we can just get out of here. Fair enough? One final housekeeping note, just an announcement from Burlington. They will be manufacturing a replica of Joe Namath's coat, which they'll be selling in the lobby shortly after today's luncheon. Their marketing people are incredible. So let's get things going. Fair enough? Fair enough? Good. Everyone good over there in Los Angeles? You good? And you're good in the Canadian Maritimes over there? It's amazing. The whole luncheon is getting to you 3 hours later. You have a lot to look forward to. All right. So, at this time, I want to welcome back Jack Essig, the Senior Vice President and Publishing Director for Men's Health and Esquire, who will be presenting the 2019 Ashok C. Sani All-Star Dad Award, sponsored by Esquire Magazine and the Sani Family Foundation. Jack?
Thank you, Dave. I didn't realize you were so funny. Awesome.
I do that instead of accurate.
Ashok Sani was a beloved husband and father. While he considered his family to be his calling, he also had a deep commitment to giving equal recognition to all of his interests in ethics, truth, love, peace, nonviolence, compassion, and moral and social responsibilities. All live on through the Ashok Sani Scholar in Residence program at NYU and the Ashok Sani All-Star Dad Award, both of which are underwritten by the Sani Family Foundation. In the spirit of Ashok Sani, Esquire invited its readers to submit nominations for this year's All-Star Dad. The All-Star Dad Award honors a father who goes beyond being a responsible caregiver and a loving mentor. We look for a father who gives extraordinarily to his family and to the world around him, a man whose tireless efforts make life better for his children and the community. This year, the National Father's Day Committee, Esquire Magazine, and the Sani Family Foundation have selected Brent Johnson as the 2019 All-Star Dad. Brent's son Jack wrote this essay with much help from his grandmother, who unfortunately could not be here today. But at this time, I would like to ask Brent's wife, Jamie, to come up and share why Brent deserves this honor so much. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here today and celebrate our family. I will read the letter on behalf of Grammy Deb, who is not able to be with us today. Hello, my name is Jack, and I am 9 years old. My Grammy Deb is writing this for me as I am unable to see, speak, walk, or do any of the things that normal kids do. But I want the world to know that I have an all-star dad. My mom and dad married, got their college degrees, and bought a house in their hometown. When I came along, they were over the moon. No one knew yet that I was a special baby. Then when I was 3 months old, I had a seizure. They did a lot of tests, and eventually I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, microcephaly, and blindness. Each new diagnosis was a devastating blow to my parents. When I grew bigger, I needed a wheelchair. Getting me and my chair in and out of the car was difficult. My parents found a van called an MV1, which is wheelchair accessible but very expensive. My parents knew they were blessed to have good enough jobs to provide this for me, but it bothered my dad that when he knew other families with kids like me weren't so lucky. The thought of helping others sparked something in my dad, and he got the idea to start Giving Songs, a nonprofit charity that helps families with blind, multi-disabled children buy wheelchair-accessible vehicles. Please check out givingsongs.org for more information and pictures. My dad does everything for me. He bathes me, feeds me, and most of all, loves me with all of his heart. He works over 60 hours a week as a supervisor for a major trucking company. He devotes any spare time he finds to the charity and helping others. I can't think of anything he does for himself. I can't make my dad cards to say I love him like my sister does. I can't put my arms around him and thank him for being the greatest dad ever. But with Grammy's help, I can nominate him for this award. Please help me do this for my dad. Best regards, Jack Johnson. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing that beautiful letter. And thank you to my mother, Deborah, for writing and submitting it on Jack's behalf. Thank you to the National Father's Day and Mother's Day Council, Esquire Magazine, and the Sani family for inviting our family to receive this distinguished award. It is strange and perhaps difficult to think of our family as special. I've spent the better part of 2 weeks reflecting on our story, and the one sentiment I keep returning to is pride. I am so proud of my wife, Jamie, son, Jack, and daughter, Ava. Jamie, I've been thinking about those two kids that started dating and fell in love 20 years ago. They scraped together money to get sushi on the weekends. Do you remember those kids? They laughed constantly and became the best of friends. Excuse me. They planned a life and started their family. What they didn't know is how difficult their journey was going to be. I've cried myself to sleep many times over how hard your life is. And in those moments, the only thing that overshadows the sadness is the overwhelming awe and amazement I have at your strength and how gracefully you care for our family. I'm proud of those two kids that have been knocked down and are still standing together, still laughing. I'm proud of you and the woman you've become. Jack, my boy, there he is. Jack, I had all kinds of plans for the two of us. We were going to ride motorcycles and fly airplanes, and we were going to play catch in the yard. And as I learned about the many challenges you face, I realized that none of those activities were going to be possible. But what was apparent early on is your love for music. You inspired me to pick up a guitar and learn to play so we could have that connection. That bond was the fuel that flamed the start of what would become Giving Songs, an organization that changes lives, not in a token way, but significantly. It gives families back the basic freedom of transportation, reducing their isolation, and allowing them to rejoin their community. Jack, you've accomplished this without the gift of sight, speech, or mobility, and you've introduced me to what has become my life's work. In other words, Jack, you've given me my purpose. And Ava, my beautiful, funny, and creative daughter, you bring so much joy to our family. And your mom and dad have learned a lot from you. As soon as you were old enough, tall enough, as soon as you were tall enough to reach the handles on your brother's wheelchair, you insisted on pushing him. You taught us how to enter a room, often as an unwanted center of attention, without a care in the world, loud and proud. You've become a wonderful and loving friend to your brother Jack. You are his #1 advocate and his voice when he needs it. You've given me a full heart, a life of abundance, and you've given me back my smile. Jim and Karen, Jamie's parents, thank you for being here, not just today, but every day. We wouldn't be here without you. Ladies and gentlemen, this experience has been like something out of a fairy tale. And as the Johnson family heads back to Detroit, you can rest assured that we will be living gratefully ever after. Thank you so much.
How do you follow that up? Applause doesn't do it. Words don't do it. Perhaps silent thought does. What Brent has illustrated is Father of the Year is a broad term. Fathering is a team sport. Impossible to do without a team around you. And he has an amazing family. And within this room, at each table, we have ordinary people doing extraordinary things every minute of every hour of every day. But again, I go back to Save the Children, and one of the reasons we're here, the main reason we're here. And that's because where would Brent be without that support? Where would your children be without you and Jamie? We need to make sure that every child feels a team supporting them. We sit here and we are simply in awe of your strength, of your dedication, and of your unending efforts to pull every ounce of joy out of the moments we all have on this earth. So thank you for your inspiration this afternoon. I want to remind you, and I'm going to do it, and you know, it's the ugly side of ensuring that we do the work we set out to do today, and that is that we have fundraising which is going on. Bob Mann has just given $1,000. Leah's just given $500. We're at $31,200 so far. And remember, last year we raised $38,000. We have a $25,000 match on top of what we've gotten. And what would make me so happy is that we raised enough money today that these guys were so overwhelmed that finally I get the call to be honored. Please, make that happen. Make this too old father full by giving me that honor. It is now my great joy, and I want to remind you that at any point, it is acceptable to use your phones here to text 203-309-0782, 203-309-0782. To hell with phone etiquette in this room right now. And we can raise that tally, and frequently during the afternoon, because this is going to run straight through to tomorrow morning. This is basically, for any Jews in the room, welcome to Yom Kippur. It's like Yom Kippur, but they're serving. Which would mean Yom Kippur wouldn't be so bad, would it? Sorry, I'm going to have some of the chicken. Please, ask the members of the tribe at your table. They'll explain that joke. Mark Schreiber's going, I don't get that. We didn't have that in Newport. Shut up. The joke's working. Don't tell me you've never been to Newport in your life. It is my great pleasure to invite Kathleen Kingsbury to present our next award of the afternoon to her father, Tom Kingsbury.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming today to help honor my dad, Tom Kingsbury. Over the past 10 years, my dad has run a company called Burlington, and if you're not familiar, Burlington's most famous ad slogan is, brag about it. Well, as anyone who knows him will tell you, Tom Kingsbury does not like to brag. So I welcome this opportunity to do it for a few minutes for him. First, there's my dad's work. Over his 45-year career, my dad has built, run, and in some cases rescued several large retail companies. Burlington, for instance, was near insolvency when he took over in 2008. Today, the value of its stock is up more than 600% from when it IPO'd. But as my dad would tell you, the most important thing is the fantastic team that he leads at Burlington. There are more than 40,000 employees in 700 stores worldwide, and the company is regularly honored for its diversity, for its support for women in the workplace, and for its culture of philanthropy. To our family, however, there's never been any doubt that the proudest accomplishment of my dad are his 4 children and his 5 grandchildren. When people ask, which of you is the most like your dad, I say, we all are. In Maggie, my youngest sister, a corporate recruiter, my dad shares an incredible care in helping people find the best career path for themselves. She has followed in his footsteps as a mentor to many, including so many of you in this room today. In Maggie, my dad also passed an extraordinary dedication to family. There's no one in the world I know our family can count on like Maggie, except maybe my dad. Ben, my brother, got my dad's entrepreneurial spirit. He's started and ran several small businesses. My dad's strength has always been as a marketer, as is Ben's, but they also take tremendous pride in doing the right by the people who work for them, usually through their own example. Ben also shares one of my dad's strongest, most unfortunate passions, rooting for the New England Patriots. My sister Emily, she has my dad's deep sense of empathy. It's been no surprise that Emily, also a retailer, has received promotion after promotion for her excellence in customer service. She has my dad's gift of seeing someone in need and working tirelessly to help solve their problems. In me, he passed along his ability to operate with very little sleep. We share an appreciation for adventure, for risk-taking, and neither of us has ever shied away from a little competition. I often think about how much I owe my dad, my career in opinion journalism. My dad is a rabid news consumer, and at the family dinner table, we often discussed politics, economics, regulation, whatever the current events of the day were. He stressed the need to know what you believe in, what you value, but also that an opinion is not worth having if you can't intelligently explain it and stand by it. He taught the importance of public service, and more specifically, always of leadership. Of course, the lessons didn't end there. My dad was educated by the Jesuits, and with my mother as his partner, he's lived up to the Jesuit model and is always working for others, his family, his colleagues, and the community. That, of course, is what brings us here today. Please welcome my dad to the podium, Tom Kingsbury.
Katie, you're a great editor. You're great with nonfiction writing. You're pretty good with fiction, too, I have to say. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the members of the Father of the Year Committee for this award. I'd also like to thank the Burlington team for all of their efforts to make this event the most successful ever, especially Michael Haskell and Elliot Rosenfield. Thank you. Thank you for your efforts. Since I'll be stepping down from my role as CEO in September, I'd like to thank all of our business colleagues here today for all of your support during my 10 years at Burlington. Without you, we wouldn't have achieved all that we did. And I also like to thank you for supporting this great event. Thank you for stepping up and helping us out. I would also like to thank the entire Burlington team, many are in this room, for everything you've done day in and day out to make Burlington a great place to work during my tenure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Back to why we are here today. It is an incredible honor to be recognized along with the late Senator John McCain and Tony Gonzalez, two men who distinguished themselves with remarkable achievements during their careers. I would also like to congratulate Brent Johnson and thank him for his commitment to helping families in need. His story is inspirational. I am pleased to announce that on behalf of Burlington Stores, we will be donating $30,000 to his charity, Giving Songs, to help even more families. My wife Nancy and I raised four amazing children. Katie, a highly accomplished journalist and now a fiction writer. Ben, a burgeoning comic book store tycoon, as Katie said. Emily, a thriving retail executive. And Maggie, newly a corporate recruiter, but previously a successful publicist. I am so proud of all of you. I am also the proud grandfather to 5 grandchildren: Isabella, Lily, Teddy, Wyatt, and Gus. You are the center of my life today. Through all the ups and downs, challenges and victories, fatherhood and grandfatherhood provides riches that, as any dad knows, are the most fulfilling aspects of life. Of course, fatherhood is a role that can be a bit bewildering, especially during those first 18 or so years, and maybe the first 40 years, I don't know. No matter how prepared you think you are, nothing readies you for the job. The depth of love you feel for your children, the sense of responsibility for their care, or the wonder of watching them grow, learn, and find their place in the world. And if we are all being honest, I think we could all agree being a parent is also an incredibly humbling experience. You might be a 6-foot, 8-inch world champion athlete, but you will be soundly defeated by a defiant 2-foot tall toddler. You could be a highly skilled leader who manages large teams of diverse professionals, but you will find yourself completely adrift as you try to navigate the emotions of a brooding adolescent. Or maybe you are comfortable making high-stakes decisions with wide-ranging, even global implications, but as a father, you'll stay awake at night trying to decide if you should step in to help your young adult get out of a jam or let them go it alone to sink or swim. I saw a dad quote on the internet that I thought describes the tension and joy of being a dad. A teen shouts out at her dad, "It's not your job to embarrass me." "I know," the dad replied, and then smiled and said, "It's one of the perks." No matter what your day job might be, your role as a father is likely more challenging and meaningful. When you think about it, fatherhood is not just something we give to our own children, it is also something we give to everyone around us. Anytime you reach out with advice, insight, and encouragement, you are providing a kind of fatherly support that can make a huge difference in someone's life. And making a difference is exactly what the Father of the Day Council is all about. Through their philanthropy and outreach, they have raised more than $30 million for charities that support children and families in need, including Save the Children, the beneficiary today. And so as I accept this honor, I want to dedicate it to my family, who have supported me throughout my career, allowing me to pursue my dreams and aspirations. But as I look back on the many jobs and responsibilities I've held during my lifetime, being a father is a role I have treasured most. Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
There we go. Congratulations. That's awesome. Thank you, Tom. And Tom poignantly reminded all of us, no matter what you do, no matter what the rest of the world may consider your greatest accomplishments, what company you run, how big your bank account is, how many awards you've racked up in entertainment or sports, if you're a dad, you know your greatest accomplishments are often right in front of you. Your greatest work, its greatest meaning, is often the work and the effort put in for something most of the rest of the world doesn't see or know. But you know it's priceless. So thank you for those inspiring words. We appreciate you being here. Tony Gonzalez. He was somewhat intimidated sitting next to me this afternoon. I think back to when he was playing ball at UCLA and I was a walk-on on the yeshiva team. We never scrimmaged, but we had a mutual respect for one another. And who knew all these years later we'd be breaking bread together? What can you say about Hall of Fame selection and Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez? A lot. Tony is known for his remarkable feats in the NFL, including being the all-time leader in receiving yards by a tight end, as well as Pro Bowl appearances. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 10, not 12. 14 of them. 14 Pro Bowl appearances. And consecutive starts by a tight end. He was recently selected to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Tony was a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs and Atlanta Falcons for 17 years, following an impressive career at UCLA that saw him earn first-team All-Pac-10 and first-team All-America honors. Not to be limited to one field of play, Tony also made it into the Sweet 16 in the NCAA basketball tournament as a member of the basketball team. That takes talent. Believe me, I also was a two-sport athlete. I was varsity lettered in not only bowling, but ping pong. That's right, bad boy. Following his time in the NFL, Tony appeared on CBS, the NFL Today, from 2014 to 2016, before joining Fox's NFL Kickoff as co-host in 2017. But those are only some of his high honors. The greatest of which is probably that he is the father of 4. The father of 4, whose philanthropic endeavors are geared toward improving the lives of children. He's developed multimedia programs that celebrate and advocate for children's sports, and he's partnered with the Boys and Girls Clubs, as well as with the Shadow Buddies Foundation, an organization that provides emotional support and knowledge to children regarding illness, disability, and medical treatments. But that's not all. He also serves as an ambassador for Scholars Hope Foundation, an organization in Huntington Beach, California that works with underserved children. A documentary about Gonzalez and his brother, Play It Forward, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2015 and was aired on Showtime. He was also seen alongside Vin Diesel in XXX, The Return of Xander Cage, a role I turned down. Tony's work has not gone unnoticed at all. He won a Presidential Volunteer Award for his work on the Shadow Buddies Books and Buddies Project, which seeks to bring together teenagers and seniors in shared understanding. And he was also once named #1 NFL good guy by the Sporting News. Good guy. Good guy. Good dad. That's what defines Tony Gonzalez. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Tony a warm welcome as we present him with his award today.
Thank you for that, Dave. Appreciate that. You did get something wrong. I did not go to UCLA.
Was it USC?
No, it wasn't USC. You want to keep going? Anybody know where I went to school? I went to Cal Berkeley, okay?
It's a mistake in the prompter.
It's okay. Nothing wrong with UCLA if anybody's from there, but they were our rivals. So and they suck. They suck. They're not very good.
They do suck.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if you guys heard that song, Come and Get Your Love. You guys hear that song? That is actually, speaking of fathers, that's my wife who's sitting there in the audience. That is her father who sang in that group, Redbone. So I'm glad we got to play her dad singing lead vocals on there. But thank you. That was a great presentation. I really do appreciate it. How come you didn't do it, honey? How come didn't you come up here and ask? No, it's good, though. It's good. You did a good job. Okay, first of all, let me say thank you. I'm so happy to be up here on this stage with such amazing fathers, amazing people, an amazing organization. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, I did not know that the history of this organization. I knew it was a big deal, but I didn't know it was that big of a deal. I'm honored to be sitting up here. This is really, really cool. But like Dave said, I have 4 children. I have an 18-year-old, and this is the quintessential modern family. 18-year-old, when I was younger, I was 23. I was in a little relationship, had a little baby. Guess what? I'm pregnant. Hey, I'm an athlete. What are you going to do, right? Okay. So that's Nico, who's now 18 years old. And mother, we get along great. We're very good friends. We actually saw her in New York here a couple days ago. With my wife now, we have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. That's Malia and River. And then we have an adopted little girl who's 4 years old, and her name is Sophia. Now, I'll tell you a brief little bit about each child, because they are truly the joys of my life, honestly. It has been the biggest impact on me, more than football, more than anything else in my life, is having children. My 18-year-old, I did a Hall of Fame celebration for Huntington Beach, for the guys that aren't going to go, the guys I played high school football with and basketball with. And I was talking to one of the guys on my team that I hadn't seen since high school. And he's like, hey, Tony, you know what I remember about you is you used to show up to practice and you'd always forget your jersey, or you'd forget your shoes, or whatever. You never had a ride home. So I was kind of an airhead when I was younger. And then I thought about my oldest son, Nico, and I'm like, that's where he gets it. You're an airhead. You're like me. And of course, I've been hard on him. Like, how could you do that? You know, I remember one time I was dropping him off at the airport when he was about 13 years old, or out of the Pro Bowl, and he had to go back to school. And so, I was walking him into the airport, and we're getting out of the car, and he's been barefoot the whole time because he's in Hawaii. And we get out. I take his bags out. He doesn't have his shoes on, and so I get his bags and everything else, and we lock the door up, and we're walking to the terminal and all that stuff, and he still doesn't have his shoes on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see how long this goes on. And I keep asking him along the way. I'm like, hey, did you forget anything? Nothing's amiss right now? And he's all, no, I'm actually good. I'm good. I had a good time. We get all the way to the terminal, and I'm like, are you sure you're not missing anything? And still, I promise you, he's like, no, nothing. And then I finally let him in, like, you don't have your shoes on, bonehead. Let's go back to the car. But it was a good lesson for him because he always wore his shoes from then on out. I want to go to my 11-year-old daughter, Malia. She's like the butterfly. She's a hell of a tennis player. She's like our free spirit. She's like a dragonfly. And she helped me out. She saved me a lot of money one time when she was just born. She was about 6 months old. And my wife is from Dana Point, which is a beach town. So she grew up going to the beach. And so she wanted our daughter to have one of these little bikinis, 2-piece bikini at 6 months old. And so we put it on there, the good idea to not put on a diaper with her. And I was down in Mexico because I was thinking about buying property down there, and it was this deal that I'm talking to the guys about the deal and all this stuff, and I have her on my lap as we're talking, and then all of a sudden, it was explosion time, and boom, all over me, right? I'm in my trunks, and it picked it up, and it was a telltale sign that wasn't a good deal. And so we took it as an omen. I don't think that's a good deal, and we passed on it, and it worked out. I saved a lot of money, so I thank my Malia for that. Only a couple more stories, then and then my River. River is the real intense kid. He's a really bright mind, but very focused, but very literal. And so he's the type of kid, you'll come to the room, it's a typical response by River. He'll be doing something like on his iPad or whatever. We limit the iPad too. Don't think I'm that dad. About 30 minutes a day. And so he's on his iPad, and you come in and you say, hey, River, what you doing? Just, casual come, hey, what's going on? What you doing? And he'll be like, what does it look like I'm doing? But it's not offensive. Like, it's to him, it's not like he's trying to insult you. He's just literally like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm playing a game. And so he has taught me patience, extreme patience, and I'm sure every parent in here, because he's so literal. And then our daughter, the youngest one, the Sophia, the adopted daughter. And now we got her at 3 months old, and she's from actually it's my wife's half sister, and it was born meth. Her mother had 5 children, and she was the 5th child, and the 4 previous children were put up for adoption from birth. And so she tried to keep this baby for the first 3 months, and I think she was, for sure. She was born while her mother was still using. And so as we got her, it was really the first 2 weeks that we had her, there was nothing. There was no crying, no emotion. And we were thinking, okay, maybe there's something wrong. And then all of a sudden she cried one day, and I think she got the point, like, I can cry. Like, this stuff works. Because before it never worked, but now it works. And she still hasn't shut up since then. And I'm telling you, the first 3 kids were just a joy. You know, the normal up and downs of parenting, it's tough. It's tough. Everybody in here who's a parent knows. But this child, I'm telling you right now, nightmare. When she started crying, and I'm talking the 2-year-old, 3-year-old in the airport, that the back is arched in the middle of the airport, yelling and screaming, there's no consoling her. She has been that challenge for us, which another thing is patience and understanding. And now she's hitting 4 years old, and she has become the sweetest girl. She's out of that stage, but I tell you, it was trying at the time. And the reason I tell you these stories, and I think everybody in here who has kids can understand, I have learned more from my children than I could ever learn from being on a football field, than I can ever learn from being in a basketball arena, or ever learn from being on Fox or CBS. It's your children, to me, are our biggest teachers. And I always tell my kids, it's not my job to make you great. It's my job to teach you how to be great. And one of the best things that I ever learned in life is, I remember John Wooden, the UCLA coach, Dave? I went to go see the Wizard of where is it from again? Wizard of Westwood. Before he passed away, and I got to sit down and talk to him, and went to his little apartment. He'd had it for 40 years, and this guy's legendary. And we're talking about everything, and we get done with the conversation, and I'm leaving, and I'm like, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Wooden. And he goes, hey, you have kids, right? And I go, yeah, I have kids. And he goes, I'm going to give you some advice. He goes, the best thing you could ever do for those children is love their mother. It's the best thing you can do. And so that always stuck with me. It takes a village to raise a child, but I owe the mothers. And I always kept that in mind, and I always make sure to show my children how much I respect and love my wife and how we're in this together. And so I want to thank you, to my wife, October, for being a great mother. And as I go forward, I look at children as flowers. You can put them out in the sun, you can water them, you can give them good fertilizer, do everything in your power to let it grow, but you can't force it open. It has to open itself. And my children have taught me that. And it's so beautiful to see that flower open right before your eyes. There is nothing better than seeing them open and learn and smile and grow. And it makes all the pooping in my lap, not wearing the shoes, telling me what does it look like I'm doing in the back arch. All that goes out the window when you can see that smile on those little ones' faces and understand that you are raising good human beings, which helps everybody. So having said that, I want to say thank you again for this great honor. Appreciate it. I'm going to take that with me.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you, October, for being here. Just one quick note. UCLA, Cal, U, they all have the same letters in them. Partly cloudy, partly sunny. What's the big difference? Tune in at 4. You had Father of the Year wrapped up as soon as that kid took a crap on you, as far as I'm concerned. Congratulations, Tony, and a great privilege to have you here. I want to remind you once again, I'm going to go off script, that the phones are still working, that we are still accepting donations, that we are still trying to really make a statement at this lunch during this afternoon. Right now, we have a total pledged amount of $38,000 plus $25,000. If there is anyone who is so moved, please pick up that phone. It will not be rude. $100, $200, $50. The mere message that donation and that effort brings today means the world to the end users, the folks that Save the Children are working with. So I only hope that you will go home from this luncheon, not only with the good feeling of having participated in a fundraiser for a good cause, but you'll become ambassadors of that cause. That you will go online and log on to Save the Children and learn about what they are doing. And I guarantee you, as only a weatherman can, if you do that, you will become an advocate, a cheerleader, and an ambassador. And the work we're starting today will continue with you for the next 365 days. So please do that, and thank you for dialing in. What's that number again? I want to get it up. What's the number? Does anyone have the number? 203-309-0782. 203-309-0782. I know it's a stretch, but we're at $41,000. Wouldn't it be remarkable if we could get to $50,000 or above? I say that knowing I might be somewhat disappointed, but I have faith in each of you. There are almost 1,000 people in this room. $10 more per person. Am I right with that math? See, I have a producer. I really don't do anything. I step in front of that green wall, I look for the blob, and I say, it's going to rain. This is stretching it for me. But if we each give $10 incrementally right now, we can very easily get to over $50,000. Before we turn to our final award, we're excited to have Howie Schwartz here, always entertaining, of Grandstand Sports and Memorabilia. He's going to host a live auction right now of the incredible painting we saw earlier today that Joe Everson painted while he sang the national anthem. So please, and I'm asking you one thing, we're going to wrap up shortly. We have one more incredible honor, which I want you to be here for. So please, let's welcome Howie Schwartz.
Thank you, Dave, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As a proud dad of 2 young boys myself growing up here in New York, I could not be more thrilled to be here with each and every one of you. Growing up as a young boy in the Brooklyn area, I dreamed, yes, thank you, one day of not only being a dad, but I also dreamed of actually being a professional football player. I dreamed of being an All-American at Cal. I dreamed of amassing over 15,000 career yards like Tony and having my career culminate with an induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But when you're 5'6" without a speck of athletic ability, ladies and gentlemen, your career path tends to change. So today, I serve as your auctioneer as opposed to NFL legend Tony Gonzalez to my right, and I could not be happier. As you see behind me and as you saw earlier, we have world-renowned painter Joe Everson with us today, who is wheeling over this incredible piece that he painted right in front of each and every one of us. We've all been in art galleries throughout our time, ladies and gentlemen, and we've said to ourselves, how do I know Da Vinci actually painted that? How do I know Miro, Renoir actually painted that? We've eliminated the doubt here today, ladies and gentlemen. Joe has painted this, and when we say limited edition, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get more exciting than this. World War II, 1945, Iwo Jima original, that a lucky person with us today is going to hang on the wall, whether it be in their office or their home, and of course, every dollar is going to save the children. So we all know how this works. I'm going to call out the bid increments. I ask you to please simply raise your hands high. If we could bring up the house lights, that would be fantastic, so I could see all these beautiful people. And let's raise a record amount, not only to the $50,000, ladies and gentlemen, let's help get to $100,000 to support as many young boys and girls as possible. This original hand sign, you'll take a photo with Joe Everson as well. This is going to go home with the lucky individual today. I think it's valued at over $20,000, but they'd like me to start at just $1,000 in the room. Who would like to kick us off? I've got $1,000 in the front. I've got $1,500 on the right. Who would like to say $2,000? $2,000 right over here. I'm back at $25,000. I've got two. Do I hear $2,500? $2,000 is the gentleman's bid right here. Raise your hand high at $25,000. $2,000 is my generous bid. Do I hear $25,000? I've got $2,000. Say $25,000 in the room. $2,025. We're back bidding on the right. Do I hear an even three? I've got $25,000. $25,000. He says $3,000. No problem. We're back at $35,000 in the room. $3,000 is our generous bid. Do I hear $35,000? I've got $3,000. Left side of the room, you are welcome to bid on this as well. $3,000, I mean, and if you don't, not a big deal. Tony Gonzalez may just actually pummel your table as he walks out here, but nothing will hurt. $3,000 is our generous bid. Would you say $35,000 in the back of the room? All to support Save the Children, I've got $3,000. $3,000 is our generous bid. What are you saying, even $35,000? I've got $3,000. For the original, you're going to take a picture. Joe Everson's going to hand sign it as well. This is going to be the original of your entire collection. $3,000 going once. Who would like to say $3,500? $3,000 going twice. Do I hear $35,000? $3,000. We have a bidder right here. Thank you. $3,500. Thank you very much, sir, at $35,000. Great bid. We're back now at $4,000. $35,000 going once. Would you say an even four? I've got $35,000. $35,000 is the generous bid. Do I hear $4,000 in the room? $35,000 going once, sir. Your tie's worth $4,000. I think you could bid $4,000 on this original painting. $35,000 is our generous bid. Would you give us an even four for the kids? $35,000 is our generous bid. I'm looking for an even four in the room. $3,500 going twice. Do I hear $4,000? $3,500. Joe, quick question, and hate to put you on the spot, but would you mind painting a second so we could raise $7,000 for the children and help us eclipse the $50,000 mark? Would you be so kind? $3,500 to this handsome gentleman here. $3,500 to the handsome gentleman there. $7,000 for our tremendous cause. Great job. Congratulations to both of our winning bidders. Thank you to everyone that bid in the room. Silent auction taking place in the foyer as well. My name is Howard Schwartz. Be sure to get home safely. Thank you.
Howard, big hand for Howard Schwartz. I work with Howard a lot, and there's no better auctioneer. He is terrific, and there's no better audience, by the way, than all of you. So I want to thank you. And as we head into our final award this afternoon, our final award of the day is for Vietnam War veteran and inarguable American hero, John McCain. John McCain's story. The son and grandson of Navy admirals. Senator McCain served as a naval aviator for 22 years following his 1958 graduation from the Naval Academy. While on his 23rd mission over North Vietnam, his plane was struck by a missile, forcing him to eject, which resulted in breaking both of his arms and a leg. Senator McCain then spent years as a prisoner of war in the infamous Hanoi Hilton, where he was subjected to torture and denied medical treatment. Following his release, he served as a naval liaison to the United States Senate. He retired from the Navy in 1981 with naval honors including the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, the Legion of Merit, the Purple Heart, and the Distinguished Flying Cross. My friends, that is an American hero. Senator McCain lived a life of public service as his father did, as his father's father did. After the military, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives from Arizona in 1982 and the U.S. Senate in 1986. And he was also the Republican Party's nominee for President of the United States in 2008. During his time as senator, McCain served as chairman of the Senate Committees on Indian Affairs, Commerce, Science and Transportation, and Armed Services. We lost John McCain to brain cancer in August 2018, but we will never lose his legacy. And helping to ensure that is his wife Cindy, his 7 children, and his 5 grandchildren. And although Senator McCain's daughter Megan couldn't be here today, we are excited to show you a special video from her accepting this award on her father's behalf.
On behalf of my brothers and sisters, Doug, Andy, Sydney, Jack, Jimmy, and Bridget, thank you so much to the National Father's Day Council for recognizing what we have always known, that we had a great father in John McCain. My father was well known as a war hero, as a politician, and as a voice of conscience for an America that needed one. In his life, he did many things, and he was known by many titles: naval aviator, congressman, senator, presidential nominee, but the most important title and his most important job was dad. He knew it, and we knew it. When we were little, growing up in Arizona, we didn't know our father was famous. We didn't know he was important. We didn't know he was a hero. All that mattered was that he was famous to us, important to us, and a hero to us. My father's name is known around the world, but right now, in countless homes and communities everywhere, there are fathers right now who are doing their duty, loving their children, protecting their family, and teaching the next generation how to live in honor and in courage, and in faith. Those fathers are also heroes. My father stood strong in the ranks of many great men in his long and eventful life, but he was never prouder than to be in the ranks of those fathers. His happiness and his mission centered upon his sons and daughters. We knew it, we loved him for it, and we always will. So once again, thank you to the National Father's Day Council, and specifically Dan Orwig and Dana Verriel for their work and for their recognition of my dad. Knowing him, if he could be here to see it, he would do what he always did when someone praised him, wave it away and try his best to be modest. But inside, I know he would be humbled and proud. My father was a man of few core values, and the call of fatherhood was his most important. Thank you.
So we have a very few minutes left. If we can go to the video screen, if it's possible technically, and see where we are pledge-wise, that would be terrific. Can we pull that up? Oh, this is just like at work. There we go. We're at $43,000. We're at $43,000. If we include the $7,000 we just got from the auctions, that, oh, and here we, boy, you know what? We bring that up and then let's just wait a moment. Let's just enjoy each other's company and watch the tote board. We're at $44,000 now. And when you add in the $7,000, we're at almost $45,000 now. Listen, if we get to $50,000, well, let's just skedaddle after that. To hell with the final comments. We are over $50,000 this afternoon between what you have pledged and our generous auction bidders. What a way to kind of bring this all to a close. A record-setting support that we've been able to offer Save the Children, and of course, an afternoon spent with good friends, great company, and honoring incredible fathers. So I want to tell you how grateful I am to have been a part of this afternoon. It's indeed an honor. It was in 2005, and that's why I was so excited to come back. We're at $46,000. I could continue to speak until we reach $47,000. I would simply slow down what I'm trying to say to you. And if I did that, perhaps we would hit that number while I spoke, like Keith Morrison. Where were those people late on Saturday night when that murder took place on the deserted lane? We're very close to $47,000. In fact, we're just $325 away. It's being wrapped up. Thank you all very much. God bless you. Now, we want to bring up Dan Orway.
Wow, Dave, amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here today, supporting our event. Took it to another level. I would also like to thank Mark for all the support he has given our organization throughout the years and for inspiring us with the work that he and Save the Children do throughout the country and the world. We're proud to partner with an organization like Save the Children. So I'm pleased to report, I think you got it already, but did we get any more on the text to pledge? Close to, here it is, 40, there you go, all right. 47,000 plus the 25, okay? Still going? What I'm really thrilled to announce that this has been a record-breaking event. Between the help of all of you today, the support of Burlington, we've raised more than $1.6 million. So just a few thank yous to the people who have made today's event possible. I would like to personally thank my incredible Father's Day committee. It has been an honor to serve on the committee with you. Your dedication, hard work, and commitment has been an inspiration. To Michael Haskell, the co-chair of this year's event, I could not have asked for a better partner. Thanks for being amazing. Committee members Frank Chalou, Karen Darmanin, Kurt DeWayne, Mel Goldfeder, Jonathan Greller, Mark Heller, Bill Huntington, Dan Magaletta, Michael McMullen, Jim Montero, Danielle Poggi, Doug Rasick, Leah Roberts, Elliot Rosenfield, Paul Rosengard, Sunil Sani, Glenn Shannon, Mary Beth Sheraton, Mark Schneider, Billy Sussman, Rich Wurzberger, Mike Walkoff, Matthew Youngs, and Jason Zuckerman. And of course, our executive director and my partner, Dana Verrill. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge our office administrator, Joan Moore, who holds it all together for us. A special thanks to Esquire for sponsoring the All-Star Dad and generously designing and producing our elegant invitations and today's program journal. To our 2019 Fathers of the Year, I would like to extend one final congratulations to you all. We are honored that you could join us here today. Thanks again, everyone, for coming and taking time to honor these outstanding fathers. You should have all received a copy of Faith of My Fathers by John McCain when you arrived. We hope you enjoy it. And for any guests who haven't already taken a photo at the Step and Repeat, please join us on the red carpet just outside the ballroom. This concludes our event. Have a great day, and happy Father's Day to all.